Welcome to Ask the Funeral Director with Mike Voyajakis. Brought to you by Voyage Funeral Home and Crematorium. Now, here's your host, Brad Wilder. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Ask the Funeral Director. It's been a couple of weeks. It sure is good to be back. Mike Voyajakis is ready to go, sitting right over there, and we'll get to him in just a minute. Coming up tonight, we've got lots to get to. Obviously, we've got lots of people just getting on board online. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll say hi to some of you in just a couple of minutes. Big things happening in the world of politics, obviously. We'll touch on that, of course, with Justin Trudeau leaving the show. It's about time after 9 years. Canada's in pretty desperate, dire straits. We'll not only talk about Justin, but there's some other political stuff that's coming out of the United States of America, such as, well, the big fires down in California, to Donald Trump obviously making his way into presidency very soon on the 20th, and what Kamala Harris had to go through the other day, too, just to name a few of the things that we'll talk about politically tonight. Some other political stuff, I guess one of the big ones is going to be about Mike's brother, who passed away and was murdered tragically here in Winnipeg. We'll discuss an upcoming event on January 24th that we'll give you all the details on. And we're going to take a look at some great videos tonight, plus all of our Ask the Funeral Director questions. It's all coming up right here on Ask the Funeral Director after this. At the Cork and Flame, we're always cooking and ready with the finest for all our customers any time of day or night. From breakfast brunch to lunch and dinner, steak and seafood to ribs and more. The Cork and Flame Fine Dining. Always fresh, with fabulous desserts and a narration of the urban landscape, plus a passion for quality food. Eat, drink, chill. Cork and Flame, 3106 Portage Avenue. There's no hurry, so sit back and relax. Welcome back. Well, Mike, hey, welcome back to 2025.
Happy New Year.
Happy
New Year to you folks for joining us on the hour, every hour with Mike and Brad. Ding, ding. Happy New Year. Happy 2025.
Hey, wow. Man, we started out with a bang, didn't we?
We did. Crazy.
Crazy.
You know what? It's been 2024 was a terrible year for myself and my family, and I hope 2025 is going to be better for you and the rest of the world.
I hope it's going to be better for you, too.
I hope so,
and I think the 24th may obviously lay a few things to rest, which, again, can help not only your family and your situation, but a lot of families throughout Winnipeg and around Manitoba.
Yeah. We are going to talk about that. It's going to be an interesting event, and we're wanting you to join us. I want to talk to you about the Christmas event, because a lot of people are saying, well, what happened with Christmas? How did it go feeding those families?
Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, so what we did is, Brad was there. He was right beside me the whole time, and what we did is, the final count was over 200 families that we fed, and we provided toys.
That's family. Make sure they understand that that's families. That could be anywhere from 2 people all the way up to 6 or 7, right?
And that food was pumping out of that kitchen.
Oh, that food looked so delicious. That turkey was beautifully cut.
We had a lineup of food that you wouldn't believe, and we managed to give every child 2 toys.
That's incredible too.
It was incredible to hear some of the stories. Carl Krebs actually went out and recorded some of the things that we did, and the family responses to them.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling in your heart when you can do good things for other people, and you're doing it for nothing in return, just out of love.
There was emotion. There was emotion involved, and all the way around, from you right through to the person who received the gift basket and all of the wonderful stuff.
It was on the 24th, and I got to be honest with you, barely didn't sleep on the 23rd because I was so excited about being able to help families and help those in need and providing gifts for those little ones. And again, thank you to everyone who donated money, people that donated gifts, and most of all, people that donated their time. We had a whole wrapping station going there.
You did.
We converted the Cork and Flame into a wrapping station.
Before we go, we got a lot of people to thank for that whole day and that whole scenario, right? Because it wasn't just the Cork and Flame or Mike Voyajakis or anybody else like that. It was a lot of community support all the way around.
Yeah, it was a lot of community support, and the people that came out, even the
I picked up the cookies.
That's right.
What was up with the cookies, man? They were delicious.
They provided cookies for us.
Who
I
did?
don't remember the company's name now.
Oh, but I got it. You
tell
talk
me.
it. You talk about something else.
This girl provided Lily's
Bakery. Yeah.
Bakery.
Not Lily's Bakery, but Lily.
Anyways, they
we'll
provided cookies for us. It was amazing, and she did it from her heart. And so everybody got a meal, but they also got cookies in that package, and they were free. And we want to give her a little bit of a promotion here. Also, Kevin and Anna, thank you for the $500 donation towards gifts. We were going to play your video today for you, but unfortunately, we can't get it up on our screen, so sorry about that.
We'll get to it before the
there we go.
show's
Kevin,
over.
we'll get it. I know you're watching. I know you're in Mexico, and you're probably watching the show tonight. Gord, good evening. First one on the show tonight. Actually, him and Steve Bage kind of tied. I don't know how one beat the other one there too, but Kathy Tickle, hey Tickle, how you doing? Debbie McKenzie, Terry Thiessen, Happy New Year from Southern Alberta. KDB, good evening, everyone. Janet, good evening from Smithers, BC. Al Bueller, good evening, Michael Wojciechowski. Not Brad. Michael Mitchell, Happy New Year. Linda Shelley.
Big surprise.
Good evening, Brad and Mike. Sandy, good evening, Mike and Brad. Al Bueller, good evening, Brad. Oh, now he says good evening. There you go. He had to get his name on there twice. Angela, our Italian friend from Toronto, not America. Hi, guys. Miss you guys. Well, we miss you, too. 2 weeks not doing the show is really hard because you get used to connecting with people and the comments, and it's like a family. And all of a sudden, the family disappeared for a couple of weeks. Michael Mitchell says, good evening, y'all. Dan Ross from, of course, Ross, Manitoba. And Rose Marie, Steve Bage, of course. Debbie is on the show. And Rose Marie. And now we're going to get to some other things while Brad's still looking that up.
It's tough. I thought it was going to be right here, but it's not.
You know what's really frustrating? Another death in the last couple of days at Health Science Center. We got to do something about that. People waiting in line, and I've heard from families waits as long as 22 hours. This is Canada, folks. 22 hours in a hospital waiting room. To me, that's unacceptable. The medical system needs to change. We can't have people who are going to see a doctor waiting 22 hours in a waiting room, and then Sweets to Go. Sweets to Go by Lily. And they're at 3416 Roblin Boulevard. So if you need a cake, a birthday cake, a wedding cake, donuts, amazing. Just amazing.
When I went in there, the smell of the bakery was so good and yummy, and all kinds of delicious treats everywhere. So
back to the waiting room, another death in a hospital waiting room. And to me, that's unacceptable. That should not happen in Manitoba, where people are waiting to the point where they're dying. And then they put the blame on each other, the Regional Health Authority and the whole works. And I don't know if you've ever walked into Health Science Center, but when you walk into that waiting room, it's like walking into a war-torn country. It's terrible. I remember walking in to the Health Science Center when my brother died. And it was a terrible feeling walking in there, very eerie, whole whack of security guards on duty as if there's going to be an attack in there of some sort. I'm sure they get a lot of crazy people downtown, but yeah, that's what happened. We're going to get to some videos while Brad's still playing on his phone. And, I posted something the other day on social media, and it was supposed to get reactions, and the post went sort of like...
It went viral.
It went viral.
400 comments.
It was really asking people
fast.
their opinion if Canada should become part of the U.S., and Trump is really pushing that. We're going to talk more about that right after this video.
We're going to do a video. Okay, let's do a video. Let's play this Trump video. How about this one?
Yeah.
All right.
We're on top of things.
In a marathon news conference at Mar-a-Lago, President-elect Trump not ruling out using economic or military coercion to retake the Panama Canal and acquire Greenland.
You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military.
Trump saying the U.S. decision to return control of the canal to Panama in the 90s gave too much influence to China.
China's basically taken it over.
And arguing the U.S. needs Greenland for national security.
You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States.
The provocative comments come as Donald Trump Jr. visited Greenland today, and the Danish Prime Minister vowed that his country's territory is not for sale.
Just here as tourists, seeing it, looks like an incredible place.
But his father laying out an aggressive foreign policy, expanding U.S. influence, even wanting to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico.
The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country.
And after mocking Canada as the 51st state, Trump is floating the idea of using economic, not military force to annex the U.S. ally.
Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security.
Outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau responding, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. While overseas, Trump is again warning Hamas to release its hostages soon.
If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas.
Meanwhile, Lester, Judge Eileen Cannon says Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on the now dismissed classified documents in January 6 cases against Trump cannot be released until an appeals court weighs in. Trump called that great news. Also today, a New York appeals judge denied Trump's request to delay his sentencing in his hush money case.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking.
Yeah, stay updated at bobbity blah.
You know, the one thing you got to respect about Trump, he's all about America.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, strong and proud. And
I was thinking Emerita. Emerita.
You know, so here's what I posted on Facebook. I'm going to read it, and maybe you could give us your opinion. If you didn't get a chance to do this, lots of people talking. How many of you think Canada should become the 51st state? And let me tell you, there was a battle royal in the comment section. I believe there's 308 comments just on one of my posts on people's opinions, and people getting pretty aggressive with other people about what their thoughts were.
Yeah, take it easy on each other. This is all a big joke.
It's
Look,
just
Trump is just pulling yanking everybody's chain, as we like to call it.
I mean, people say that Canada and the U.S. would be an economic powerhouse, and it's interesting to know that they global influence, shared resources, unified security. They talk about all kinds of things.
Let me bring you up a good one. You want to discuss this, and I'm sure our viewers will too. How about this? You ready?
Ready.
How about paying for health care going forward? Are you prepared for that? How about that? $100,000 just to get your toenail clipped.
You kind of, but you kind of wonder about our health care here in Manitoba. Like I say, people waiting 22 hours in a waiting room.
I agree. I think that there's problems here, but you know what? We should try to fix our own problems before we just let somebody else walk in and take over the country to fix our health care problem.
I'm going to give you my opinion on this. I was
Paying more money to have health care is better?
I was born Canadian. I'm going to die Canadian. And I think Canada could fix their own problems. I
agree.
And I think we should bond together and unite and be stronger than ever. But most of all, bring the Canada back that we all know.
Correct.
The Canada that stands up for Canada. It doesn't allow other people to come into this country and change our laws, change our regulations, change who we are, change our beliefs, and most of all, know that Canada was built on Christian values. And if we can bring that back, we can most definitely make Canada the country we're all proud of. And it's not to say we're not proud of Canada. Trudeau has done a lot. Hang on a sec. It's time.
It is. I was going to say.
Just watch this. It's time. You seen the the violin cases, when the mafia's around, that kind of thing, right? Well, we got something for you, and you need to watch this. And funeral procession. Oh, look at that! Look at that! This is JT.
Final viewing of JT.
Final JT. We're laying him to rest. He's given up on Canada, and the people are happy about it. And I think we should just close the lid on him. And no, that says it all. That says it all. Right?
Close the lid on him.
You can tell Brad's been working at the funeral home a little too long.
The props that I have in my possession are just
every time I come here, bells, props, all kinds of cool things. Wow, does it ever feel good to be back? Hey?
Yeah, absolutely. I never really left, but you did.
So I also talked with. I had a lunch with Wally, running for
Wally who?
Wally. What's his last name?
Dodrich.
Dodrich. Really nice guy, running for the PC party in Manitoba.
That's right.
Trying to give Bobby Kahn a run for his money.
Yep.
And really good guy. We had a great conversation, and boy, does he have some great ideas on how he can make Manitoba a better province for us all. And,
100%.
We talked a lot, and I noticed when I was speaking, a lot of notes were being taken, and he's pretty much on the same page that I'm on as far as what we need to do to clean up this province. And, if you get good leaders working together, Mary says, that's a winner, Brad. She gives you a cup.
How about Steve Bage? That looks like Al Bueller passed out.
It may be Al Bueller's little brother. So it was a good meeting him, and tomorrow I'm going to have supper with Kevin from the Winnipeg Sun.
Oh, Kevin Klein.
Kevin Klein from the Winnipeg Sun and I are going to
What a great guy. What a great guy.
And I really like what he's done with the paper.
Oh, so do I.
And
He's
people
telling the truth again. Well, not that he is, but
the truth is
coming out.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
The truth is coming out everywhere, and even now in the arrangement office, people are openly talking about.
He's giving Gillingham a run for his money, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is. Gillingham.
Oh, we'll just leave that alone.
We got the blood pressure rises.
Yeah, that's right.
We have another video.
I got 2 violin cases. I'm just saying. I got 2.
Got to watch what you say on that one. We're going to run another video, come back, and have some more fun on Ask the Funeral Director. Please like, share, and follow the show. Let's get some friends of yours on the show watching and having a good time with us.
Trust me, he's going to be on a ski hill right away. He's going to be doing some surfing in the summertime. Don't worry.
Did you see he was on a ski hill?
He isn't resting anywhere.
He was on a ski hill, and a lady reached out
oh, did she ever?
To shake his hand, he thought, and then she told him to get the you-know-what out of BC.
That's where you do the Donald Trump handshake, where you grab on, you hold on really tight, and you just, because it's on skis, you're right at the cliff, you just give him a tug, and off he goes.
The funny thing about Canada and the U.S., it's Justin Trudeau that started this whole thing with Trump. He was making fun of Trump for ages. Yeah. And then Trump came back and showed him who the boss was.
Well, he flew to Mar-a-Lago to kiss Trump's
and
ring.
Trump wasn't having anything of it.
Ring.
Trump seems like a really straightforward guy, in your face, says what he needs to say, and that's that. Setting these reporters straight when they try to guide him off topic, and I like that.
100%.
Let's do this
another video?
next video. This video is interesting to watch. This video is...
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Breaking news, folks. You ready?
Are you ready? Because I have a funny feeling
you're going to know the person in this video.
You might be in it.
We are, of course, monitoring that breaking news tonight in Los Angeles area where a wildfire erupted this morning near Pacific Palisades. An update moments ago now puts the acres burned at more than 2,900, so it is still spreading rapidly. High winds, those Santa Ana winds, are fueling the flames.
Okay, I didn't mean to get you mad, but you deal with fire all the time, every day at the crematorium. So, okay, it's the wrong video, but we're going to get back.
Keep running it. Let's just keep running it.
You want to keep running this? Okay, let's do it.
Thousands of people, many under evacuation orders. Others are being told they need to be ready to leave. So some are told they have to get out right away. Now, here's a live picture in Southern California of the Palisades fire. Again, 2,900 acres plus have burned. You can still see into the night there that ridge line of fire as this thing continues to spread. We have seen numerous homes going up in flames, along with cars as well. As bad as this situation looks, there have been no reports, thankfully, of anyone being injured.
How long have you lived in this area?
17 years.
How bad has this been compared to other fires?
This is apocalyptic. We've had small fires, nothing like this.
Firefighters did bring in a bulldozer to clear a roadway so they could get through. Some people trying to evacuate simply abandoned their cars to escape the flames on foot.
Well, there you go. That's what's happening in California. Does that have remnants of, the Maui and the West Kelowna?
I was just going to say that. Like, what the heck? How are all these fires breaking out all of a sudden and taking down? There's supposedly a football field every second.
There was no fires prior to this for how many years?
Just
50
like Maui,
years.
Yeah. Hey, a football field every second. Can you imagine that? That's how fierce these fires are. Imagine a football field and, every second they say, let's just say every minute, they're taking down a whole football field. That's a lot of land.
Absolutely.
And how does a a place like that burned down without the fire department and without helicopters and all the things that they can do these days to prevent fires, all the chemicals that they could drop on fires now, and I don't know. It makes me things that make you go,
Well, the ones in California. Let's talk about this just for a second, because Gavin Newsom basically cut off the water supply in certain areas of the state.
That's right.
To be able to save a specific kind of a fish. And by doing that, he shortened out on reservoirs and lakes that are now empty. And where's the plane going to get the water from if the plane can't come in and scoop some water?
Well, they're going to go into people's pools. Scoop down.
They can. They've done that. They've totally done that. But those helicopters aren't going to do the same kind of response as what a aircraft will do, right?
It's sad to see people's lives be destroyed. You can only imagine your house and your possessions and
inside
all
of
your
that house
memories
was burning
gone.
down. It was on
160 kilometers an hour winds, 20 acres to 3,000 acres.
What the? You're absolutely right, Debbie. I agree with you.
Julie Hall.
Fish lives matter.
Same thing that happened in Maui.
These are multi-million-dollar homes too. Like we're not talking about just $1 million or $2 million. We're talking
Debbie
about
says,
10 and 15.
WTF?
Yeah.
Ding ding.
That's right.
Yeah, let's pray for those families. Say a quick prayer for those families so nobody does get killed and no one loses lives in such a terrible incident that's happening in LA right now. And no matter what your conspiracy theory is, it's still people's homes, people's lives, people's businesses. So it's terrible.
It's not a good situation at all, same as Hawaii. That's correct.
Going to get into this other video that we were going to play the first time, but was the wrong video, but it's going to be the right video this time.
That's correct.
We think.
This one's got a special guest. Okay, here we go. I know you're anxious to get to this one. It's like,
I just can't
it's
wait.
like, man, I can't wait.
The justice system was a big reason my brother's gone. The justice system failed us.
As the anniversary of the death of a Winnipeg restaurateur approaches, his family is renewing calls for bail reform in Manitoba. Kyriakos Voyagakis was tragically killed by a repeat violent offender who was out on bail. And now his loved ones are hoping to prevent further families from experiencing a similar loss and heartbreak.
The impact on our family has been devastating to lose our younger brother and no justice in return.
Last January, the Voyagakis family was forever changed after Kyriakos was fatally assaulted by 38-year-old Curtis Ross Delbozek, an individual with a lengthy rap sheet who had been diagnosed with an unspecified psychosis. While Delbozek would eventually be arrested and charged with manslaughter, Kyriakos' brother Mike was left feeling as if his brother's death could have been avoided. But unfortunately, over the past year, Voyagakis has heard time and time again that his family is not alone, feeling unsafe in their very own neighborhood.
And I hear that over and over again. I can't even walk out at night and enjoy my neighborhood because I'm afraid. And that shouldn't happen in a city like Winnipeg.
Voyagakis' calls for action come on one of the deadliest years in Manitoba history. In 2024, authorities investigated 99 homicides, the most recorded in 63 years, and more than double the number recorded just 10 years ago. Voyagakis believes that these startling statistics point to not just the need for bail reform, but also the need for greater rehabilitation services.
We should be providing rehab for people so they're healed. Not that we're leaving criminals out in the streets, people that are healed, who've gone through programs, who want to make change, who want to be part of society again.
Following Kyriakos' death last January, hundreds gathered to pay their respects. Numbers that Voyagakis only expects to grow in a few weeks' time when they return to the parking lot of the Cork and the Flame to remember Kyriakos' life and to demand change. In Winnipeg, Kurt Black, City News.
Well, thank you, Kirk, for that, because you did a great job there, buddy. I have to say.
Kurt Black did a great job on that, and it's the truth. And you know what? What's really hurtful, I just got shivers up my body, is when I heard that 99 homicides, and my brother was a statistic.
Yep.
And your brother or your mother or your father or a family member could be a statistic too. This is when we need to get together and fight back, fighting back against crime and the justice system. The justice system has failed our family and many other families. The catch and release system needs to stop. We need, people say, well, what can we do about it? Well, if we get together in numbers, we cause awareness. When we cause awareness, it brings attentions to matters like this that need to be resolved. We put pressure on the system. So I'm hoping thousands and thousands of people, we're going to have live entertainment there, speakers. It is going to be a great evening, a candlelight service at the same time in memory of my brother Kyriakis. My brother Kyriakis' death will not go unnoticed. I'm going to fight till the very end. In the next couple of years, I'll do things that I never thought I was going to do to make change in this province forever. Why? To protect your family, to protect your children. And most of all, those people that came to this country years ago because Canada was a safe place, a place where you could raise your family, a place where you can build a business and have freedom. That's taken away from them now because many families don't go out after 6 o'clock because they're afraid of the violence in their neighborhoods, and they should be, because the violence is completely out of control. We need proper rehab. We need to demand accountability from the justice system. We need to demand accountability. What's it going to take? A judge's son to die, to be murdered, and then finally realize, oh my God, we should have did something about this.
I think the change, Mike, has already somewhat started with this right here. This putting to rest this situation, I think, is going to alleviate some of the justice problems that we're faced with.
I
still think that the RCMP need to be dealt with, but I think that still stems from a lady named Brenda way back when, and I think that's going to be taken care of too with a new leader after an election.
I think the justice system is far from being fixed, Brad. In 1 year, there was no justice for my brother. In 1 year, this guy who killed my brother has not even stood in front of a judge. He doesn't stand in front of a judge till March. For every day that he's in prison, he's getting, a day and a half time off of his sentence. We need to demand accountability. It's wrong, and we need transparency from the government to tell us what's going on. And we just can't release these people in the streets over and over. The catch and release, the rotating doors at the court system need to be stopped. They need to be stopped, and we need to stop it now. And I'm going to stand strong behind this because it is to protect your families.
Debbie, please bring place cards and signs. Do all that, because this isn't going to end until they see how many people are standing up. And it's
get out of your chairs. Get out of your chairs and create awareness. It's one day that we could come together and we can make it the hugest event ever. Thousands of people coming together for one reason.
You've got some
justice.
Special speakers there that night.
There's going to be special speakers. I'm not going to announce them yet. And we need to address not only the justice system, but the mental health issues that we have in the city and the addiction problems that we have in the city. And between the three, it's causing the violence in the city, the drugs, the drug trade. It's just causing break-ins in people's houses. It's causing violence. It's causing robberies. And the police have their hands tied. And a lot of people will call down the police to say, well, it's the police. Well, I have a solution for the police. So if they want to reach out to me, I will give them a solution that will help this police force grow, make it stronger, and be more accountable to the people of the city. Things that happened to my brother should never happen again. For example, him laying on the street for 25 minutes without an ambulance attending in the heart of St. James. This is unacceptable in my heart and unacceptable in your heart, because if you have a heart attack anywhere in the city and it takes an ambulance 25 minutes to get there, you're going to be at the funeral home. That's the bottom line. You cannot survive 25 minutes without air going to your brain and to your heart. Please join us. It's just a couple weeks away. On the 24th, that's the day my brother died. It's going to be in the very, very place where my brother died. And his life was a life that was taken for no reason whatsoever. An innocent life taken in a flash second. And I want to make sure to try and avoid other lives being taken the same way. And that's how we do it. We get together in numbers and we make a difference. And we let our voices be heard.
Well said, Mike. And I know a lot of people are going to be there to help support you and your family, and not let this continue.
Yeah, look at the machete attacks in the city in the last couple of weeks again. And the murders that we've, I can't even go to some of these things because of what we do for a living. But let's just say the city's out of control. We need to finally stand up together. I want to be your voice. I want to make a difference. But you need to be there with me. I can't do it myself.
I know you like making money, just like everybody likes to make money. But it would be nice if you had a break, huh?
No kidding.
Okay, so let's move on. There's a great video here that we're going to play next. This is one of those videos that, I guess it just makes you go, ah.
Makes you go, ah. Well, we're going to play it and tell me what you think.
Oh,
and we're not seeing many comments on the U.S. Canada merge. Nothing like on Facebook.
On Facebook, no. Okay, here we go.
The Simpsons already know. Did you know that The Simpsons predicted a global crisis in 2025? In the episode Springfield's Downfall, the town faces something no one expected: hyperinflation. Local currencies start losing their value, and market prices skyrocket absurdly. People begin bartering basic items for essentials like food and water. The situation worsens when the town discovers that banks are shutting down, and the government announces that digital currency will be the only accepted form of payment. Meanwhile, a mysterious family in Springfield seems to be behind this sudden transition. But at the end of the episode, a message appears on the screen. Are you prepared for when this happens in real life? Now, many believe The Simpsons were warning us about an imminent economic collapse. Do you think this could happen? Comment ALERT for part 2 and share this video with a friend who needs to prepare.
They seem to be always one step ahead, don't they, Mike?
You know, and you kind of wonder, are you prepared? Are you prepared if your power was to go out? Do you have enough food in your house? Do you have enough money put aside where you can bargain on the black market? Because that's what it's going to take. I would probably suggest that we all do that, because you never know what tomorrow brings. And we need to be prepared to have some extra food in our house that we can eat, canned food, whatever it is, something to keep us warm, and definitely some cash money to be able to bargain with people, because that's what they're talking about on the show. How real is it? Who knows? But they've been right on a lot of things. You know, Debbie says, replying to Tricia, we're talking about the majority of what happens with the paramedics. And I want you to know, I have plans for the future. I'm sure you know that. But I can tell you that I've been speaking with paramedics. I've been speaking with police officers. And I've been speaking with people in charge. And I know what the problems are. I've been getting to the root of the problems.
Yeah.
And, you know, a big problem for the paramedics, for example, a lot of people are talking about this. I'm going to talk about it. The paramedics pull in to do a shift change at 6 o'clock. So at 6 o'clock, the one ambulance pulls in and the other guys come on shift. But they don't give these guys the time they need to get their ambulance in order. Yeah. So when they go out on a call,
restocking supplies, make sure
wrapping cords properly,
oxygen's been replenished. Yeah.
So my brother's case, they get there and
defibrillators work
before anybody says anything. It's all on video. Everything that happened is on video. There's no secret. And I've told people this in the past, and I'll say it again. If people counteract what I say, I will play my brother's video live. I'll block out the part where he got killed, but you can sit and watch and have the anxiety I had. Because listen, I'm not a guy that gets anxiety easy, but my anxiety was through the roof watching that video and waiting for my brother to get help as he lay on a cold street in Winnipeg in a heart of St. James at 5:30 in the afternoon with cars going back and forth, nobody stopping to help, and 25 minutes later, an ambulance arrives. I don't know about you, but I think that's unacceptable.
Absolutely it is.
And so instead of giving these guys in the paramedics that 15 or 20 minutes that they need to redo their ambulance, they send them out on a call. 5 after, 10 after, they're on a call already, working with whatever the paramedics before worked with. And hey, this is your mom and dad, your brother and sister, your family members are going to need an ambulance one day. And trust me, when that ambulance comes there, you don't want what happened to my brother.
We have some great solutions to some of these problems that you've been affected by, and I think that's something that's going to be discussed in the future, not necessarily here and now.
I can't talk about these solutions now.
No, of course not.
But I'm going to talk about these solutions, and I do have solutions. And, you know, I'm going to say...
And I got to vouch because I've had the talk with them, and we've come up with some great solutions.
I'm going to talk about one thing that I want to talk about, and it really bothers me. What's heartbreaking to me is not... I mean, my brother died, and we have to deal with that. But what's heartbreaking to me was the lies afterwards. The lies from the city of Winnipeg, the lies from the paramedics, fire department. And again, with another thing that's unacceptable in my heart, and it should be for you too. So your loved one's laying on the streets. He was just in a fight and somebody stabbed him. Guess what? The paramedics are not arriving. The fire department is not arriving until the police come there.
That's right.
And how wrong is that? We need to change the system where the fire department can react.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
be there. You know, in my brother's case, the fire department was 2 streets down.
The hospital's like
And
4
the
streets
hospital
down.
was 5 minutes away. And, you know, it's tragic. It's straight out tragic. I'm not wanting you to feel sorry for me or feel sorry for our family, but
You need to understand the situation.
we want to make this understandable. We want people. We don't want Kiriakis' death to be swept under a carpet like most of these deaths are, because the family doesn't have a voice, and that's the problem. When the family doesn't have a voice, nothing happens. It hits the news maybe for 2 minutes, then it's swept under the carpet, and it's another problem that nobody's going to hear about again.
Well, you being on CTV and CBC like you have, that helps.
And
I mean,
Winnipeg Sun
that's
is doing a
starting to do
story on
There
it.
you go, that's right.
The Free Press is going to do a story on it.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of people at the Cork and Flame parking lot, and I hope you're one of them, the people that watch this show and support the show.
This,
and please,
this isn't a controversial topic.
not controversial at all. It's a realistic comment.
Correct.
It's realistic because we need to find solutions to what's going on so your families are safer in the future. And what do we do next?
Wow, that's a great question.
We're going into Ask the Funeral. Change needs to happen. Trisha's right, and I'm going to be change, like it or not. For Scott Gillingham and anyone else who's out there, I'm going to be in your face, and then I'm going to come for your job.
I love it. Love it. All right, moving on to question number 1 tonight on Ask the Funeral Director. This is a great question because, I mean, this kind of thing happens to a lot of families, and the funeral home is affected, but so is the family. And the family, you know, you're always trying to look out for the best interests of the family, obviously. So question number 1, when you have unexpected death in your family and need to make funeral arrangements, when is the payment due? Tell me that first.
This is a
because I'm going to expand on that.
This is a touchy
when is it due?
subject on me, and I'm going to explain it more.
Is it due right away, like before?
We used to be very compassionate and caring and understanding when it came to a family's losing a loved one. And then we would say, oh, well, you could come and pick up the cremated remains. You could pay when you pick up the cremated remains. Well, guess what? A lot of families have never come back. We have accumulated probably over 50 sets of cremated remains where people have not paid their bill, and have never even come back to pick up the cremated remains. So January 1st of 2025, we changed our policy. So when a family comes into a funeral, and I want you in the comment section to tell me if I'm right or wrong, because I'd like to hear your opinions. It matters to me. So when families come in to make funeral arrangements, what we say to them is that the invoice is due at the time of the arrangements,
right?
Which is no different than going into Superstore or going in
McDonald's
to buy something,
you know,
and paying for it before you leave. For some reason, people feel that they don't have to pay for funeral expenses until they're ready to. And here's the situation. When we have the power of their loved one in our care, the work that needs to be done, the cremated remains and all the things that we do, we're in control. Once we give you the paperwork and we give you the cremated remains and you walk away, we lose control. And in everything we did good for that family, no matter how hard we worked for that family, no matter what we did to help them through that experience, all of a sudden we become enemy number 1 when we phone and we become a collector asking for money. So I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for funds up front, and it broke my heart today. I mean, not today, this week, to make a phone call and say to a family, after they were told that, the invoice would have to be paid prior to the service, and it wasn't a good conversation, and I basically said, well, if the invoice is not paid, we're not going to show up to the service. And it's hard for a person to say that, especially a guy like me who's got such a big heart and is willing to do things and bend and stuff like that. But there comes a time where you need to be responsible for your staff and their bills and your bills, and to run that funeral home and make sure that it stays in business. And I haven't seen any comments, but I truly believe that that's the way to run a business.
Overhead is never going away for the guy running the business, and that's part of the issue.
Can
right?
you imagine
you still have to keep your money going
into a store, for example, buying a TV, walking in and saying, "Yeah, thanks for the TV. I'm going to pay you when I get my money back."
Yeah, that's.
Oh man,
doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, it can't work that way in the funeral home business.
Yeah,
either.
You know what, you're providing a service, and in that service, there's expenses, and when there's expenses, you need to collect your expenses. And I can't tell you how many obituaries we've done for families in in the Winnipeg Free Press, for example. And once we've put the obituary in the paper, guess what? They never call back to pay the bill. I'm not saying all people, but, we thought about doing a deposit like some people are saying, and then we ask for the deposit, they pay the deposit, never come back and pay the rest.
Scroll back up for a second on the comments section here, just for a second. Just go slow for a sec there. That's good. My God, burning a funeral director is like stealing from your grandmother in my mind. Way to go, Randolph.
It's true. I never thought, being a funeral director, that people would actually not pay you. And I'm not going to say who it is, but something that breaks my heart every single time we have a vaulted area where we have cremated remains. And as most of you know, we don't charge for children. When a child passes away, we do it absolutely for free, everything. The funeral service, the cremation, the burial, whatever it is, we do it for free for family. That's from our hearts. We don't ask for money. We don't ask for anything in return. And it breaks my heart that I go up into that room and the first thing I see all the time is somebody's little loved one, I won't say if it's a boy or girl, that they never picked up.
Right.
They just never picked up those cremated remains or the urn that we gave them. And it breaks my heart that a family would do that to a little one, because that was a little life. And that little life, that little body deserves to be buried somewhere, remembered, scattered, whatever the case may be. So there's going to come a time where I guess I'm going to buy some cemetery property and bury this little guy's body at my expense.
Well, that's noble of you. A lot of funeral directors just leave that on the shelf and not worry. But
I just can't do that. If you have a heart, if you run a business, and especially in funeral service, you need to have a heart. And you need to be compassionate and caring. And sometimes people will take advantage of that. This is a good guy. He doesn't care. He's just going to let it slide. One family even said to me once when I phoned to collect money, they said, "Oh, you told us during the arrangement that many people haven't paid you." So they decided to be one of them. Come on. Like, seriously?
It's okay.
Oh, man. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Charisse wants to know in our next question, what are the first steps that she needs to take after the passing of a loved one?
That's a good question, Charisse. A lot of people don't know. They lose a loved one and they're in a hospital room and they panic. And the first thing you should do is research on what funeral home you're going to use. And make sure you just don't go what I call the traditional ruts. The traditional rut is where grandma went, where grandpa went, where maybe mom went, maybe dad went, and people just say, "Oh, let's call that funeral home." I want you to know that most of those funeral homes have sold their names, sold their businesses, and the only thing that's existing of that funeral home is literally the name, which is just the name that they're using. So be careful. Do your research. When you go to a funeral home, bring a friend with you, somebody who isn't grieving like you are, because that's where they take advantage of you when you're grieving and you believe everything they're saying, because it's not too often you deal with a funeral director. So first thing you need to do is talk to family, call a meeting, maybe get a priest or a pastor to come in and say a prayer in that hospital room, and then call a funeral home and make an appointment to make funeral arrangements.
Hey, I was thinking as you were talking there, I was thinking maybe we should do this with him.
No, because if you did that, he would be saying to people, "Kiss my..." and we don't want JT to be saying that.
No, we definitely don't want him to be saying that. Little JT. Somebody you'll never forget for the rest of your lives.
JT will never go away. People will always remember what he did. But you know what? Let's go back in time. What did his father do to Canada? You know what I mean? We fall for it twice.
More destruction.
But the thing is, we kept both of them in.
Fool me once, blah, blah, blah. It's my fault. Fool me twice. It's still my fault. I don't understand.
And while we're on this topic, I need to talk about something else. When we were talking during COVID, when the hospitals were telling you that they were full, and don't go into a hospital, we're full, we can't help you, there's long waiting rooms, there's long waiting times, that was a lie. The hospitals were never full. Nurses,
choreographed videos of them dancing, crazy.
Yeah, and remember CBC got caught filming a dummy.
Yeah, in the bed.
They put a dummy in the bed because there was no patients in there. So
People are dying.
And then somebody realized that was actually a dummy.
A dummy.
And those are the dummies that nurses work. The nurses work on. But anyways, I want you to know that the hospitals now are busier than I've ever seen them in my life. It's complete chaos in the hospitals.
It's way different than it was during COVID.
I think Voyage did over 100 deaths. Our funeral home alone did over 100 deaths in December, and it hasn't stopped. And we're dealing with an average age of death of 40 and under. 40 and under, my friends. That's scary. In 26 years of me being a funeral director, I've never experienced this. I've never experienced walking into a morgue where I see so many stillbirths, they call them. A stillbirth is terrible, and we're seeing so many of them.
So destructive.
And you have to ask yourself a question.
What's doing it?
Why?
What's causing it?
What's going on? What's causing our hospitals to be full like they are? What's causing an uproar in what they call turbo cancer, myocarditis, brain bleeds, blood clots? It goes on and on and on.
Do you have a lighter?
And that's not even what are you going to burn? Are we going to
Well, Miguel's asking online here. He says, can we do a cremation of little JT on the show?
I would love that.
We can all pretend it's the real one.
I would love that. We can put him right on the table here. Get the studio to start on fire.
No, we
but
don't
if you put a match to Trudeau, he would he's done so much harm and evil. Probably would disintegrate in a second.
I bet it smells like.
We should just bring holy water.
Yeah,
we don't need matches.
Yeah.
People say, "Why, Mike?"
Smell like a feedlot in Alberta after we light him up.
We all know what's happening, and I can tell you that the hospitals are full after. They said 2 to 3 years after vaccination, we would see a crazy death rate.
Michael Mitchell, you knew the answer to that. Come on. Too funny.
You know what? It's 2 to 3 years after. And what they said is really happening. And I mean, forget about what's happening here in Manitoba. Think about what's happening around the world. I talked to somebody in Greece the other day, and they said the death rate in Greece is completely out of control.
Really?
It's happening everywhere.
It's bizarre. There's a lot of questions left.
You know, I have questions, for example, for the doctor that was reporting to the President of the United States, Fauci. How does a guy like that get away lying to the public, deceiving the public? For example, up on the stand, they ask him the question, how did you come up with the 6 foot distancing thing? And he actually said it live on national TV. Well, we made that up.
Yeah, it was just something we thought up.
How did you come up with the mask? And you should wear 1 mask or 2 masks, or what kind of masks? Guess what? They made that up too. And then recently what upset me most is when they talked about the child's vaccine. When they said the child's vaccine was very safe, very efficient, and they did a trial on it for a longer period of time than any of the vaccines. And then they just admitted that there was no trial done whatsoever, 0 research on the child's vaccine that we gave our children.
It's okay. It's safe and effective.
Safe and effective.
YouTube. We still want to stay on the YouTube, but it's safe and effective. It's meant for everyone. It will not do any damage.
Whether it's YouTube or anything, I mean, we're talking the truth. We're not lying. We're not blowing smoke up in the air. It's terrible what's happened, and the reality is the people of society are facing it right now, and it's something you can't hide. Even the people who didn't believe in COVID at all. I mean, the people who believed on it and were, getting vaccinated all the time and doing the things they had to do. Those people now are kind of going,
yeah.
Anyways, we'll get off that topic. Let's go to the next
question.
Hey,
can you help arrange clergy, celebrants, and officiants? Brenda wants to know.
So a lot of people these days don't have clergy because not as many people are attending church. So with church numbers down, and that's another thanks to COVID. COVID changed the way that people attend church. And I guess when they didn't go to church for X amount of time, they probably went, well, I guess we don't have to go there anymore. So a lot of people don't have clergy. So when you come to the funeral home, we provide clergy for you. We ask questions, and then we get a clergy person who could do exactly what you need done, whether it's non-religious, whether it's a Christian, whether it's Catholic, Orthodox. We have services for every party, and including non-denominational. What's happening a lot now is people are bringing in their own pastors. And they're not pastors. They're friends of the family. And you saw it.
Yeah.
And they're sharing stories, and they're laughing, and some jokes, and some fun. And sometimes it could be a good thing, and other times it gets a little carried away.
It can.
And we've been, don't forget Tam, 3 masked for having sex. I thought it was 3 condoms.
It used to be 3 condoms.
3 condoms, 3 masks.
That was when Fauci discovered AIDS. But okay.
That's funny.
Do you have an on-site crematorium, or do you use a third-party crematorium, Mike?
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, we have.
But because it's 2025, some questions are going to repeat.
Not a third-party crematorium. You have 3 crematoriums now.
3 crematoriums in one building. I guess you can call that a third party. But yes, what's really important...
3 at once?
3 at once. Yeah, we can do 3 cremations at once. You know, I want to share a story with you while we're on this topic. We're going to get back to the crematorium. So this may break your heart because it broke my heart. So during Christmas, I'm not going to mention families' names or anything like that, but there was a fire in Winnipeg. And I remember taking the call, and one of the things the family members said to me is, can you cremate, our loved ones together? Because they were in a house fire together, and they were a couple. And I said, yes. I said, yes, we will cremate your loved ones together, and you process them together and put them in the same urn together. And it was heartbreaking during Christmas to deal with that. A tragic fire, 2 people dying, but then the beautiful thing of 2 people being cremated together, who were in love, who were married, who spent their lives together, and we were able to do that for that family. What a special gift. And do we have crematoriums on site? Absolutely. What you got to be careful for, if you watched the show before, you already know, people subcontract cremations out because they don't have a crematorium, so they subcontract it out to a third party. They never see your loved one. They're never in contact with your loved one. They send your loved one to some crematorium, and I think there's 32 crematoriums in all of Manitoba. Maybe it's less, I don't remember. And then you get a box back, and that box is cremated remains. People say, well, how do I know that's my loved one? Well, you don't. But when you use a funeral home like Voyage Funeral Home, there's continuity of care.
Yeah.
Our funeral directors go to the hospital or care home. We take your loved one into our care. We bring them to the crematorium. We do the cremations, and we bring the cremated remains back to the funeral home. To me, that is so important. And if I couldn't do that, I would give up being a funeral director, and I'd say this job is not for me because I'm not doing the right thing, and continuity of care says it all. Ask that question. And a lot of people will try and lie you because it's a deceiving question for many. Oh yeah, we own a crematorium. And then if you say, well, I want to see my loved one last time, the truth comes out, they don't own a crematorium. They actually subcontract that out to a third party. Nikki Sunshine says the people contract out to your crematorium. So Nikki, good question. No, we will not do cremations for other funeral homes. Voyage Funeral Home specifically does cremations for the customers that we serve, the families that we serve. We will refuse to do cremations for other funeral homes. My opinion, if you don't have a crematorium, you shouldn't be in a funeral home business. Simple as that. It's important because, I'd say 80 to 90% of people are being cremated now.
Yeah, that's right. Eh?
So if you don't...
You're saving like 20 grand on a funeral plot, right?
The thing is, if you don't have the equipment, chapels, reception areas, vehicles to pick up loved ones, limousines, hearses, lead cars, crematoriums, embalming rooms. If you don't have that, it's deceiving to the families that you're serving. We have all that. When your loved one comes to our funeral home, we embalm them. They're in our morgue. We have a morgue that's a very special place that we do our work, and nobody's allowed in there other than our staff at the funeral home. So there's no show and tell at Voyage Funeral Home. It's care, compassion, lots of love, and lots of understanding from the family.
All right, so the next question comes from Tony. He says, does Voyage staff earn commissions on caskets, urns, or other products?
So, good question. Who was that?
Tony.
Hey, Tony. Do you know Justin? No. Voyage staff does not earn commissions on anything. As a matter of fact, our staff is not even allowed to take a tip when they're driving a limousine and the family hands them a 50. They say, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We get paid through the funeral home.
I didn't. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
What we do is out of care and compassion for families, and it's a time where we serve. As human beings, we're here to serve, and that's what we do as funeral directors. Yeah. We serve those families in need. The Bible talks about comforting those that need to be comforted. And as a funeral director, we do that every day. We comfort grieving families. We comfort families that have lost the most important person in their life, and that's a loved one. And that's where your heart needs to be in the right place. And unfortunately, sometimes I run the funeral home through my heart and not my pocketbook, and that's what gets me in trouble sometimes. But use a funeral home like Voyage because we're caring, we're loving, and we are there for you from beginning to end. No doubt about it.
Now, can people tour your facilities, including embalming or cremation areas? Tracy wants to know.
What's Mary saying? I was told that there are coins in cremains. So some funeral homes will use a coin. And basically it's a stamped coin that has a number on it. And it's a cremation number. And it goes into the... So you're right, it's an identification piece. We don't use that. Simply because that could get mixed up really easy. The coin can drop into another bag. You could put it... What we do at Voyage, you get a plastic bag. And on that plastic bag where we put the cremated remains, that bag gets put on the machine, the crematorium, and then it's transported to wherever those cremated remains are. And on there, you'll see, Mr. X, number 10, date and person that did the cremation. So it gives us, again, more ability to care for those cremated remains. Can you tour the facilities? So a lot of people come in and they say, we want to see where our mom or dad or a family member is going to be. Can you show us the area where they're going to be? Because they want to see if it's clean. They want to see if it's dignified. I'd want to know where my mom and dad are laying and resting until their funeral. So a lot of times we do show our facilities, but we don't play show and tell. So if there's somebody else's loved one in the morgue, you can't go in the morgue. But at the crematorium, the same thing. We let you do a final viewing before cremation. That's because we're proud of what we do.
So Adrian's question kind of ties in with what you were just discussing. She wants to know if you can decline services or products if they feel they aren't necessary from Voyage.
So Voyage has packages. We have package 1, 2, 3, 4. And those packages are exactly what families need for every package. Simple cremation with a memorial service, rental casket with traditional service, cremation to follow, and a traditional burial. Those are the services we offer. In those services, we give you a detailed brochure with piece by piece of what we're going to do. So if you said, for example, well, I don't want a limousine for the traditional burial, then we'll deduct that limousine off your package. If you don't need whatever, we deduct it. So every funeral home is supposed to deduct what you're not using. You shouldn't be paying for something you're not using. And that's in any case and with any business. So if you're a funeral home and they tell you, well, you need a car to drive the deceased from the funeral home to the crematorium, that's wrong. That's in your price already. So don't fall for that kind of stuff. Anything you don't need, you could decline services and you can say, no, I just want this. I mean, there's people that come into the funeral home to say, I want things really simple. Pick up my loved one, no embalming, casket, right to the cemetery for burial. Do we do that? Absolutely. Funeral homes are there to serve your family, not to tell you what to do, but to honor your wishes.
Can you get around like an autopsy?
No. So an autopsy is really hard because when we die, something we don't know about is...
Even if I don't want that?
Even if you don't want that, when you die, you become the property of the medical examiner's office. So the medical examiner...
Where did I sign off on that?
That's the problem. You can't sign off on it.
Well, if I didn't sign off on it, then who says I'm the property of the medical examiner's office?
I'm trying to get a message that I want to read here. So,
Answer my question.
What was your question?
Forget it.
Daniel. Yeah, it took me right... Dr. Daniel took me right off track, and he sent me a picture of Justin in the casket, laughing. What was your question?
What do you mean laughing?
Oh. Because we put him in the casket.
Oh, because we put him in the casket. Okay.
Voyage was built on integrity. You're 100% right. Nothing but integrity at Voyage. And people say, well, there's these funeral homes that big, massive funeral homes, beautiful. Yeah. If you want to pay $7,000 for cremation, you can go use that funeral, but you're not using any of their services. You're just meeting a person. That's it. That's all.
Christina wants to know if she can witness the cremation process. Do you got a window sitting there that you can look through?
We allow families to come in and witness the cremation. A lot of people...
Not the whole cremation.
No, it's piece of... So once we open the retort, the machine door, and we place their loved one in there, that's it. You got to go. And to answer your question, Guardian Angel's asking the same thing. So you asked about an autopsy.
Yeah.
So I want you to know when you die, you become the property of the medical examiner.
Now I want to know who says I'm the property of the medical examiners because I didn't sign anything on that, man.
You're paying taxes. You're a Canadian citizen. You're a resident of Manitoba. When you die, the medical examiner's office controls what happens to you afterwards. So if they decide...
Whether it was Dr. Rusin, Dr. Joss, Dr. Tam, they all figured they owned me too during that whole 2 years. And I didn't follow then. I'm sure
Hey, but
I'm not going to follow
I
on
don't make
now.
up of the rules. I'm just to follow
just
them.
tell
What do
you
you
I
want
don't
from
give
me,
a
huh?
crap.
Yeah.
Just
I'll tell
throw
you,
me take me to the train.
when you die, I make sure you don't get an autopsy.
Yeah, a person's body becomes the property of the medical examiner's office, question mark, question mark. Yeah, I agree, Katie. Why? What the hell
Why?
is going
Because
on
the medical
here?
examiner's office wants to investigate how you died. If you were beaten, if you were killed, if you were murdered, if you fell and banged your head, if you had a heart attack. It's how they do statistics, Brad.
Yeah, statistics.
And
schmistics.
sometimes, I'll tell you the good thing about an autopsy. I'm against autopsies. For a big reason. It
Yeah,
broke
me
my-
too. I know exactly what that happened.
It broke my heart when my brother went through an autopsy. It's something I didn't want him to do, and it was something that I knew had to happen for this guy to get charged for murder. But the good thing about autopsies, if there is
Yes,
a good
Rose.
thing, if there is a good thing, the good thing about autopsies, it can prevent your son, for example, of dying the same way you did, because they can find the problem and resolve the problem so your son doesn't go through the same things.
Sure they can.
And that's the good thing. The only good thing about
The medical industry's done nothing except
would
help
the
people
medical
live.
examiner's office be truthful on the cause of death? Yes, 100%. They have to be. So when they're doing autopsies, we need to talk. We need to do a show on autopsies. Maybe bring a medical examiner on with us. But what happens is they take samples, and those samples go to different labs, and the labs need to. So they know. I did autopsies for the first 3 months of my career being a funeral director. And they take samples from your eyes, they take urine samples, they take blood samples, they take samples from your body, kidneys, liver, lungs, samples from your brain, samples from your heart. So by the time they're done, you know the cause of death. Am I happy with the medical examiner's office? No. Do I think it's disturbing that it's taken a year? It's going to be a year to get results on my brother's death? I think it's wrong, and I think you need to hire more people, and I think you need to be more efficient, because you're hurting families. You're breaking families' hearts, like my poor mom sitting there waiting daily to find out how her son died, but no answer. And it's not only my family, it's tons of families that go through this. They go through a loved one, and it takes forever to find answers on what happened. So, another great show tonight, but before we leave, and before you leave, please like, share, and follow this show. Oh, no, it's Daryl Inkster.
I love his comments. So it doesn't matter.
I was watching. I was taking note of his comments when on Facebook there, and people were going at it all over the place. Nikki says, except during CVD,
COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, all claimed deaths were. Yeah, it's crazy what happened to the world during COVID. I think someday that'll be all rectified. I think someday people are going to have to answer and be transparent on what actually took place. But I want to get back to fighting against crime in the justice system. Please be a part of this. Tell your friends about it. Come to the Cork and Flame parking lot. It's going to start at 7 o'clock. We have some great entertainment there, a live band. We're going to have some amazing speakers. I'm going to speak. We're going to provide candles for you for the candlelight service. We're going to try and have coffee and stuff out there for you. Come early. Stop in at the restaurant, have something to eat, and then join us for this event. It's going to be an event for you to make change in this province once and for all, to be loud and clear that the justice system needs to change. The courts, rotating doors need to stop. And, also bail reform. When somebody's not ready to be released on the streets, why are we releasing them on the street? When we know somebody has mental illness to the point where they know they're dangerous, why are we releasing them back on the streets? When somebody has a drug issue, why are we releasing them back in the streets where they become dangerous offenders? I have a solution to that. And we'll talk to you about it maybe on the next show.
100%.
Thanks for watching Ask the Funeral Director. Happy 2025 to you and your families. God bless you and your families. Take care of yourselves and each other. Brad, thank you.
You bet, Mike.
First show of 2025. Thank you for tuning in to Ask the Funeral Director. We love you, and we love you being on the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya, Justin. We got to close the casket on the guy. What are we doing?